Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very, very well. Now this here is a wee update video on the stuff I was talking about in the very previous video about the sequels to Night of the Living Dead. I won't go into all the ins and outs. It was a very complicated story, to be honest. And I said that there was not one, but two sequels were coming out. One of which has been made. And there's a slight irony here. I was going to do this particular video in the graveyard. Yeah, because I've just been to visit my mum and dad, Big Kilt Mummy and Big Kilt Papa, at Frankby Cemetery. But which is not the cemetery which we're back onto. You guys know, I've done videos in our cemetery many, many times. But this is further out in the deeper environs of the Wirral. And I thought this would be great. I'll do the update video here, walking amongst the tombstones. They're coming to get you, Barbara. Look, there's one of them now. And but no, just when I got set up, the heavens opened. You can probably hear the rain tippling down on the conservatory roof right now. So it never happened. So we come back, and of course, driving around the Wirral, but anywhere in the UK right now, you're stuck to 20 miles an hour. Oh yeah. Any built up areas, any towns, and a lot of streets are 20 miles an hour. So once you hit suburbia again, you're crawling. You're stuck in an endless snail's pace. There's people walking poodles which are overtaking you, and you're like, we're driving, for God's sake. That's how the UK's gone, I'm afraid. It's gone slow. It's life in slow motion. Anyway, we finally got back, and I thought, right, let's get this video done. Now, there were two versions. There's one which is about to be made. MGM and Amazon are working on their own official sequel to Night of the Living Dead. And before, all those who've gone like, I didn't see your previous video, what do you mean a sequel to Night of the Living Dead? There's already been Dawn and Day and Land and Diary and Survival of the Dead. Yeah, I know. But these two films were not, they were forgetting everything else, and they were going to follow on from Night of the Living Dead. The MGM Amazon one, which has no cast assigned to it, and we know nothing about it really, so it follows on, and it has all the sanctions and agreements with the Romero estate. That's going ahead, and it's going to go ahead theatrically with Amazon pushing it out as well. So that's happening. But the other one I mentioned was Night of the Living Dead 2, made by a guy called Marcus Slabine, or Slabine. And the interesting thing about this, it was unofficial. It was made on the sly a couple of years ago. And but where'd it gone? Where this film had just seemed to have disappeared. But its big thing was it was reuniting 3 stars from Day of the Dead, the 3 survivors from Day of the Dead, the heroes from Day of the Dead. Sarah, John, and McDermott. Sarah played by Laurie Cardille, John played by Terry Alexander, and McDermott, the radio operator who has a severe drink problem. Irishman, I'll drink to him. Big Kilt Mama was Irish, Big Kilt Papa was Scottish. I sit right in the divide. But I choose Scotland, oh I do. And Jarlath Conroy, who played McDermott. They reunited for this movie, playing not the same characters from Day of the Dead, because that would have been a breach of copyright. This is an unofficial sequel, but just the same actors reunited on a tropical island with another bunch of people to fight off an onslaught of zombies who somehow or other get to the island. And one of those zombies was, of course, none other than the guy that plays Art the Clown, whose name I've forgotten. I'll get that for you now. David Howard Thornton, there you go, was playing Sharkbait. And I've got pictures of this guy. And this guy is actually quite a thin fella, but he put him in a big blubbery fat suit. And I think he's got actually got part of the suit on him, business suit. But he's quite clearly been chomped on the side. You know, a big shark's took a huge bite out of him. Because he's a little guy wearing a fat suit, it looked pretty effective. So, he was in it. And But where this film gone? It was made already. So where's it gone? Now, I'd seen reports on Dread Central, Rue Morgue, and I think Bloody Disgusting as well covered it a while ago. And then suddenly it just disappeared. And then out of the blue, on another site, the Classic Horror Movie Forum, someone said, oh, the cast of Day of the Dead have reunited to make a film, or rather are reuniting. And I thought, hang on, I've heard this before. So I clicked on it, and it took you straight to the old, 2 years old exclusive from, I think it was Dread Central. And I thought, I've seen this. So where is the film? So, lucky old me, I've got friends on Facebook. Laurie Cardille, who played Sarah, and Terry Alexander, who plays the Caribbean Calypso helicopter pilot, John. And so I asked them. Now, I asked them several days ago, and then I heard nothing back. You know, Kilt-Man means nothing to these people, and even though they're friends of mine, and we have conversed in the past. At least with Terry Alexander, I have. And I heard nothing back. So I thought, oh, I'll do the video anyway. I was kind of waiting on some more news. Does this Marcus Slabine film actually exist? I actually sent him a friend request to try and find out. I mean, I know I'm a little nobody, but I could have helped to plug the movie. I could have helped to get it out there in my own small, minuscule way. But he never got back to us either. So I thought, I'll do the video, and wouldn't you know it? Laurie Cardille got back in touch after I'd done the video. No, you could, I should have known. But if it held off, nothing would have happened. So anyway, Laurie Cardille, who played Sarah fantastically in Day of the Dead, got back with some bad news. Yes, they did make the film. The three of them reunited and made the film. However, it's not a film. It was a short film. Now, by short, she didn't say how long, but from what she said afterwards, I gather it was a sort of a promo reel. So it could have been anything from like 3 or 4 minutes to maybe 10, 15 minutes. I don't know. But it was designed quite clearly to show off the talents who were going to be in there, and the style of effects and the photography and the style of direction. And it was to try to get funding to make the actual movie itself. And they didn't get the funding. So Marcus Slabine, who had previously done a film called Dark Offerings, no, it didn't work. So one of these sequels ain't happening. They've clearly done this short, and I don't know where would you see it. I don't know how that would get released. I don't know, because it's unofficial. Would it appear as an extra on any forthcoming Blu-rays or UHDs of the Romero classics? I don't know if that could be done. Would it appear on YouTube? Could you stream it from anywhere? I honestly don't know how it would work. And Laurie also said that it's a shame because it was actually very good. And I believe her. I genuinely believe her. It would have been great from a purely nostalgic point of view to see those three back together again. And I've got a couple of different stills of just the three of them in a posed sort of like, again, Terry Alexander's wearing sort of flamboyant, Caribbean, brightly coloured shirts. I think he's got a bandana on as well. And they've got weaponry and they're still in a pose. Obviously there's an unseen onslaught of zombies coming at them. And then there's an actual shot of them with other cast members, again in the same sort of defensive pose, a whole bunch of them, and clearly there's an attack on its way. And yeah, there'd be a nostalgic value to seeing those three together again. And they're all good actors, so it would have been wonderful. They wouldn't have just been messing around, oh, let's just do this for old time's sake and let's see what we come up with here. The fact that Laurie said it's a shame because it's actually very good and it just didn't get the funding for it. And then, you see, now reading between the lines, it may have been a case of, and this is just my conjecture, my speculation. You're not allowed to speculate these days because no. Speculation is the province of anything that is not mainstream media. Oh, they can speculate, but if you're outside, if you're independent, you're not allowed to speculate. It's an old bugbear of mine, that, folks, so don't worry about it. But my speculation is that because of the really tongue-twisty, booby-trapped domain of copyright, especially with Night of the Living Dead, which Romero and John Russo lost the copyright on it because they only changed the name to Night of the Living Dead at the last moment, but didn't put it on the appropriate forms. So anyone could distribute the movie, and they got nothing back from it at all. And then, of course, with the advent of home video, anyone could put that movie out on VHS and Betamax and Laserdisc and what have you. And it wasn't until Tom Savini made Night of the Living Dead, the 1990 remake, that they retained or kind of regained the rights to it. But a lot of damage had been done by that stage anyway. But Romero plodded on and made his extra sequels, for better or for worse. It's up to the eye of the beholder. Personally, I love Romero's movies, and we are getting another Romero designed movie. Twilight of the Dead is going ahead with Brad Anderson directing it. Brad Anderson of Session 9 and The Machinist. Oh my God, what could he bring to the whole zombie stuff? It sounds amazing. And of course, that one, unbelievably, is set on an island somewhere. So, what gives? This whole thing about islands, but then again, in a zombie apocalypse, cities are overrun. If you're in the countryside, you might live out for a bit longer, but we've all seen The Walking Dead, and pretty much they're going to get there in herds of zombies or walkers, or just other bands of horrible people who will not let you in and will annihilate you in the most despicable ways possible with barbed wire baseball bats. Yes, that's what humanity is like. When the chips are down, you devour each other. But yeah, so little islands would be the ideal scenario. Or like Blofeld, make your base in a hollowed out volcano. That'd be pretty good as well. But islands are the place. So you had this one, which is you're not going to see it now, sadly. Or at least maybe you're not going to see it. Not in its full rendition anyway. That was set on a tropical island, and it does seem more like a sequel to Day of the Dead, especially when you reunite Sarah, John and McDermott, who ended up at the end of Day of the Dead on a tropical island. I'm playing Night of the Living Dead here. The fantastic score. I love this score. But you know what I'm going to do, folks, don't you? Yeah, you do. I'm going to go on to John Harrison's exquisite score for Day of the Dead, which I play it a lot on the channel, as you know, and I just love it. So let's go on to the main title of that. Anyway, these videos are a good excuse to play the music, for one thing, and for me to sit here and drink whiskey and not get shouted at by Mrs. Kilt-Man. No, don't worry, she will when the video stopped. You can hear that rain. Mrs. Kilt-Man's actually out with the dog right now. She's out with Roxy right now in the rain, because it ain't my dog walking day. Because this is Sarah going to the calendar on the wall, the dream sequence at the start, which is wonderfully filmed, and a great part of the trailer, the original trailer to Day of the Dead. And as she's like going, the pumpkin patch, isn't it? Perfect for October, which we're almost in. October starts tomorrow. It's our time of the year, folks. It's coming up. And she's doing all this, and then suddenly the hands go, and she goes, "Wah!" like that, and wakes up in the helicopter, flown by John Terry Alexander. And John Harrison's score is just so sizzlingly warm and synthesized, pure electronica, with great beats, great rhythms, and great action cues. It's a beautiful score. I love this score. I mean, obviously the jolt, the sting is not on this, because now they're in the helicopter, and this beat, this heartbeat comes in. So it would have been great to have seen Laurie Cardille and Terry Alexander and Jarlath Conroy again. It's such a shame, isn't it? You've got to admire people that at least try to make movies, whether they're, the law is the law. You can do certain things, you can do fan-based movies. I think I was saying before, I think with a convoluted copyright and legalities of the Romero estate and making these movies and doing them as sequels. Maybe certain studios and distributors just went, nah, we're not getting involved in this. So poor Marcus Levine lost out there. Again, that's that horrible thing with speculation. I don't know. Because you know damn well that once I upload this video, Terry Alexander will probably get on to me, and Marcus Levine will accept my friend request and go, oh yeah, it's coming out, you can help promote it. And I'll be like, now you tell me. Listen to this though, because they're down in like Florida, and they get the bullhorn out, and like, is there anybody there? We can take you out to safety. How? What if 20 people came out? You're not all going to fit on that helicopter, are you? You'll be hanging on to the landing struts. That's a plot hole, isn't it, when you think about it? Oh, well, okay, just stay put. We'll come back. We're like a taxi service, Listen to it. And it's got that sort of Caribbean flavour to it as well. Flavour to it. And then it begins. Bloody rain. Oh, this is outstanding, this. Listen, Billy Boy, you can hear it. Even above the engines. Because you can hear the moaning of the dead, because they've just alerted all the slumbering dead. You were sitting there with like fucking tarantulas and stuff crawling all over them, and you've got that gator coming out the steps of I think it's a bank, isn't it? And the paper comes up, the dead walk is the headline, and you see the shadow of what become known as Dr. Tongue, that poor zombie with the fright wig of grey hair and no lower jaw, and his tongue going. Ugh. And they realise, forget it, it's a dead place. That's wonderful. So it would have been so great to have seen those together again. But I know what she's saying. It was a promo reel. That's all that they've done. Shop that round. Look, this is what we can come up with. Looks good, doesn't it? Yeah. Do you want to fund the movie or give us distribution rights? Sadly, wasn't the case, and it was clearly done within the. Well, it was on the cards just over 2 years ago, so it would have been made a while ago, which is why we've heard nothing about it, because it never went anywhere. It's funny, all these other sites have not seemed to have made any reference to it at all since. Such is life, and death, and undeath as well. Cheers, Laurie. Thanks for getting back in touch. Steele, shoot that woman. Bang, you're dead. Steele, you shoot that woman or you're dead. Sarah, sit down, says Terry Alexander. They are great. Oh, wonderful bunch of characters. Realistic characters who are at the extremes. Dedicated scientists, still trying. Dedicated army dickheads. And you're looking at someone who's ex-Marines, ex-military and ex-Ministry of Defence as well for many, many years. So I know the military doctrine, the military machine that swings into action. And how without a proper chain of command and a real rules of engagement and a jurisdiction in charge giving legitimate orders from the top, how it'll fall apart. And Romero really got that. He understood it. And that bunch, they work together to a degree, but they'll all go and stare crazy, and they've got, they've got automatic weapons as well. And a lot of ammunition, and a lot of time on their hands. So, and only one woman. a volatile situation. And Romero, okay, the likes of Diary of the Dead was a different slant. It took on the whole sort of found footage thing, which I've never liked at all. I hate that genre of found footage, unless it's Zombie Holocaust, which is Zombie Holocaust, Cannibal Holocaust. God, not saying that the Zombie Holocaust, no, bloody hell. But Cannibal Holocaust is an incredible movie in its own right. Yeah, it's notorious. Yeah, it's a real genre buster, totally infamous, and the full uncut version, which even its director and filmmaker now doesn't like because they killed real animals, and he now knows that was wrong. Do anything with special effects, don't kill anything for real. It's not that's not good. But the film is amazing, and it's about the only real found footage movie I like. But Diary of the Dead, Romero style, I like the idea of it because it was happening during the actual takeover, which is what you want to see. We've all seen Dawn of the Dead and Night of the Living Dead. Day is set way after the apocalypse is well and truly underway, and they're losing contact with all other survivors in other cities, and they could well be on their own, you know. And but Diary of the Dead takes in the aspect that, well, hang on, yeah, there's still stuff happening, you know, and it's developing as we're watching. It's a nice idea. It just, you didn't really care about anyone, and some of the effects were good, but the found footage angle, I never believe anyone filming anything for more than 2 or 3 seconds, especially if something's coming at you. You ain't going to be filming it. Simple as, you know. But anyway, and then you got Survival of the Dead. Ooh dear, an absolute nadir. It's not as bad as people make out. I think the first half of it's actually pretty decent. I said that, didn't I, out loud? But the final, it's just stupid, and you don't care. It becomes banal and boring. And for a Romero movie, that's bizarre. But that's what happened to it, and it rightfully tanked big time and has no real fandom. Land of the Dead is great. I'm stunned that it doesn't get more praise. You've got some big stars in there. Dennis Hopper, John Leguizamo is in there. Asia Argento. I said big stars, didn't I? What am I talking about? But it had some great concepts, and you had Big Daddy. You'd had the evolution of the zombies. In Night, you have Bill Hinsman, the first zombie, picks up a rock and smashes the window. They pick up tools and things and bash the doors down and try to. They do. The zombies are actually eating insects off the trees. The little girl picks up a trowel and kills her mother. Romero then resharpened and rehoned all this. But as I said in the previous video, they were fresh. They'd only just reawoken that day. So a lot more semblance, and they were the freshly dead. You know, they weren't long dead, and they weren't decomposing any further. So they still had a lot of semblance of, you know, stuff, memories. So it kind of makes sense in the evolution that we see in the Romero cycle. And even in Dawn of the Dead, you know, some of them pick up the tire iron and smash the window, and like just when like Roger's trying to hotwire the trucks and all that, like, and you got the gun zombie. You've got a fascination with weapons, which evolves into Bub in Day of the Dead, who is clearly ex-forces and likes Stephen King books and loves a Sony Walkman. And he's great because he has empathy. So, and Romero worked this out superbly. I can't keep showing them all as just mindless, flesh-devouring ghouls. You know, I've got to show an evolution taking place here. So you had Bub, and then you had Big Daddy, who is looking after his own people. It was clever. It kind of had to be done. There was a certain sense of this just had to be done. I can't think what the big word is. What does he say to Neo in the Matrix? Did you hear that, Mr. Anderson? It's the sound of Inevitability, that's what I'm looking for. There's a said inevitability to the way the zombies are evolving throughout the Romero cycle. So it makes perfect sense. And so Twilight of the Dead, I would presume, is going to show this a little bit more because it's from a treatment that Romero wrote. And everyone's saying he wrote it just before he died. He died in 2017, and like he'd written this treatment for it, and it's meant to be set after Land of the Dead. Now I've talked about this quite a bit because I've talked about the development of Twilight of the Dead. He was talking about this when he made Day of the Dead. So this was an idea. Day of the Dead got cut down at the script stage because they knew they couldn't afford it. It wasn't going to happen. Tons of elements didn't get into that movie at all. But some of them got into Land of the Dead. So Land of the Dead became a film which he hadn't anticipated, I suppose. So he thought, well, I'll put these bits in here, but I'm now telling a different story. So Twilight of the Dead, which should have been, well, Land of the Dead is what became of Twilight of the Dead back in the early days. And now his treatment before he died would take in the things that happened in all the subsequent movies like Land, Diary, Survival, I don't know, they'd probably ditch those, and become this whole new thing set on a tropical island. So, but the new Night of the Living Dead, the one that we're going to get now from Brad Anderson, who knows where that's going to go. No, hang on a minute, that's Twilight of the Dead. Sorry, that's Twilight of the Dead. The new Night of the Living Dead is by Nikyatu Yusu, who did The Nanny. I did talk about this yesterday, but these names don't really roll off the tongue, do they? And it's scripted by LaToya Morgan, who worked on Walking Dead. So we don't know where that's going to be, where that's set, where it's meant to be, or anything about it at all. So, but we've got 2 more Romero-based zombie movies. Yay! That's good thing, yeah? Cheers. You almost killed Rickles. Right. Regular viewers know I'm not going to leave it without playing this. When the zombies have come down, this is Day of the Dead again, the zombies have come down on that big elevator. Miguel, who had his arm chopped off, he got bit, had his arm chopped off, commits suicide in a really ghastly manner by opening the gates to let the zombies in and then lure them onto the big elevator to take them down to the silo, presses the down button, and all the zombies converge and devour him. When they finally come down, I'd like to have seen, because you got that zombie who falls off as well, like you got the clown zombie there. And they all tumble off the elevator and flood the underground bunker, the silo, and hunt down all these rogue soldiers and Rhodes in particular, and the scientists who've been, and well, one scientist, Sarah, she's the only one's left, and in the corral, the underground, the caves where all the zombies, they bring them in and they corral them in and do experiments on them. But they've been set loose in there. And anyway, so they're all out in the air, the dark, dank caverns. But the zombies are flooding all the facility. I'd love to have seen, when they all come off, the remains of Miguel. Just like this, just rib cage and just a big huge pile of blood and ripped up clothes. Just to see, well, oh yeah, they did do that. Bub's just found Dr. Frankenstein. What was his name? Logan. Robert. Oh, I forgot his name. Robert Lincoln, is it? Who played him? This score. It's like synthesized, bongos. You got Rhodes on his little golf cart. And the zombies are flooding through the corral. So the zombies are coming from both sides now. And his men just get left behind. Like me caught up in the 20-mile-per-hour shit before. Like, he's in a little golf buggy. They can easily run, and they're going, Rhodes! Rhodes, you bastard! like he's left them behind. Hey, they can't all fit on the bloody thing. Oh yeah. This is Taso Stavrakis getting his head ripped off. And then you get Rickles, who laughs his head off whilst his fingers get bitten off. And they rip into his head and tear his eyeball and everything. It's a very strange, horrible, ghastly effect. It's just brilliant stuff. It's such a grisly film. It's funny how like Night of the Living Dead has the black and white grainy footage and that raw, gritty, visceral feel of stark newsreel footage, evoking stuff that you saw from the Vietnam War. Newsreel footage from that. That's exactly what Romero was trying to do, and he did it very, very well. Then you get Dawn, which is a kind of gaudy comic book version, but a gaudy comic book style from the 70s. The colours are all off. The blood's orange, you know, and the green, or the blue, sometimes green and grey emulsion, which Savini put on, you know, the makeup for the zombies. I love it, but it's patently comic book. It even looks like comic book panels, and the colouring is just so ghastly and stupid, but we love it. And then you get this, which is heightened even more. The gore is dark, rich, red, and very viscous and fluid. You know, it's horrible. It's very real, and the effects and the makeup are just outstanding. And the filming quality is infinitely better. Editing is superb, and it just looks fabulous. But because it looks fabulous, it looks more modern and it looks more slick and glossy compared to the first two. And that would be, well, apart from the Diary of the Dead, but it's found footage. It's just a no-no. I would hope that if Twilight of the Dead employs CG, which it may well do, the one thing that the Romero movies have not done, really speaking, is show enormous amounts of zombies overrunning cities, like from aerial shots, which would be quite dynamic. He's done it. He's had hordes of extras for Night of the Living Dead, even more extras for the Monroeville Mall in Dawn of the Dead. Loads of extras, real people dressed up in makeup and that. Today, loads for land, and then obviously Diary and Survival. Not so many. It was more. They were more intimate affairs. This is where Steele's been bitten. Ah! And then with his automatic, he crosses himself, and then the zombies. It's fantastic, isn't it? Oh no, sorry, I jumped the gun there. This is it. The shadow of Bub is at the door, and he's going, "Come on, Bub! Come on, you puss-brain bag of shit!" And then he gets bit. No. Wrong again. This is our trio. This is Laurie. This is Terry Alexander, and it's Conroy. Charlotte Conroy in the catacombs. I love this sort of echoplexed, synthesized, Henry Manfredini for Friday the 13th scores. You can't kill me. That's lovely, that. In full stereo that's which you can't hear obviously. It goes echoes around. And it's beautiful. gonna get our heroes escaping. You know, they find a way out the silo from the catacombs, and of course the elevator temporarily out of service, says McDermott. And they've got a big long ladder. I've got to climb this. And certain zombies suddenly spring up out the out the shadows, but lit up by red emergency lights, and it makes it even creepier. And one grabs hold of Terry Alexander's legs, and he's the pilot, of course. So you got McDermott, he's like, John can't. His gun. He's out of bullets. Click, click. Just clicking dead chambers. The dead man's click, and it's about to get onto him. And Jarlath Conroy just goes blows his fucking brains out, he staggers back. Come on, Johnny, you gotta fly us to the promised land. And John just goes with his guns and throws them away. Symbolic, of course. He had a chance to kill Rhodes. He didn't do it. Because he has humanity. A very, very minimal commodity during a zombie apocalypse. Lay off the fucking booze, why don't you? I'll have to lay off the fucking booze because I won't fucking be any fucking left, says McDermott. Oh, Bub's revenge. Richard Liberty played Logan, Dr. Frankenstein. Richard Liberty. It's hard, folks, to sit and do these videos when you've got 1,000,001 names you're trying to bring out from the ether. And especially when you're sitting there drinking whiskey and you're getting older. I used to be really sharp at this. I'd do videos over an hour long and I could name everybody, editors, cinematographers, and their resume, quote stuff impeccably. Now I'm going oh God, Dawn of the Bread? Dawn of the Fred. No, oh. Yeah. And the more that you try to think about things, the less chance you've got of getting it right. But it's Richard Liberty played Dr. Frankenstein. Bub is now getting revenge. Bub. Howard Sherman played Bub. And Bub's and he's shooting Rhodes, Joe Pilato, who liked to be known as Joseph Pilato, but I first got to know him, well, not know him, but by the movies, it was Joe Pilato. And he's getting shot everywhere, and he's a right bozo. He can't get a magazine into his M16, but it's realistic. He's been shot, he's wounded, and he's unnerved, he's unhinged. And he's now about to be torn in two. Choke on him! Choke on him! And Bub just goes. For realism's sake, I even did my own dribble there. Remind me never to do that again. I've got a beard, and it sits in your beard. Ugh. Sorry about that, folks. I was in character there. And you get a song at the end of the movie as well. This is them on the beach. This is our crew who were in Marcus Slavine's Night of the Living Dead 2. They get away. Sarah, John, McDermott. And she's pregnant as well. And it's a kind of like a cost-cutting exercise. They're on a tropical beach somewhere. Or are they, really? And it's just, they're all in the same shot. Fishing, and she's sitting there looking out to the horizon, little bivouac, and like crossing the days off and all that, like, but it's beautiful. And then you get this lovely sort of, very ill-fitting, I thought at the time. I'll tell you a little story about Day of the Dead. Day of the Dead's release in the UK was massively delayed because of two reasons. I haven't got the song. I have got the song, but it's just not on this playlist, which is all of John Harrison's score. It's not on it. I've got it elsewhere. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to play it now. I'm not going to try and find it now. But let's go into... Well, this is fine. Meant to be a short video, this. And as usual, look where we've gone. All round the houses! That's what we say around here. All round the houses! You don't have to say it in a Cockney accent. You can say it whatever fucking accent you have. But anyway, we've gone all round the houses. And when it finally... well, it was cut down in the UK. They kept a lot of the gore in. The UK was very bad in the 80s, censorship-wise. And we had the Video Nasty purge as well. It's come out just after all that. And they kept everything in except the machete going through Miguel's arm. He's been bitten, and they kept most of it in, but they took out the pressing down of it. And when McDermott smacks a zombie in the balls, no, in the catacombs, that sounds even naughtier. And then he goes, what? And he rams the shovel through its mouth. And it chops the top of its head off, which is wonderful effect, because you see the top of its head upside down, and its eyes are still moving, you know, and it's watching where he's going. Like, that's great. It goes, but what they cut out was like the impressing down, and then goes through, and it's just little bits like that. Some of the eye ripping of Rickles, that's taken out, and the finger chomping was taken out, and some of the when the zombies are actually the scenes of them chowing down on the dead soldiers, some of that was removed, but the overall effect was still there. Now, before it actually hit UK cinema screens, again, way delayed by, I don't know, 18 months, maybe more in fact. I already had a full copy of it from the American NTSC video release. And who did I get it off? Oh, what a name drop. I've mentioned Laurie Cardille spoke to me, well, messaged me. But Ramsey Campbell, one of the greatest horror writers that's ever lived, who's still alive, by the way, who lives just down the lane. Literally, he's just down there. I've known him for decades. He actually gave me the award when I won the Shell Research Prize for Literature. Not for oratory, because I couldn't even get the words out there. He actually presented the award. He was one of the judges, but he didn't know it was me. He had to do it in a pseudonym. And like, he went, oh, it's you! He was like, God. You can see he was thinking, if I'd known it was you, you would not have won. Anyway, back in the day, me and him both collected Video Nasties, and I'd find certain things, he'd find certain things, and we got to know each other through the Video Nasty circuit. So we'd exchange stuff, and I went round to his house, and he said, you know, I've got Day of the Dead, it's just arrived. And I went, what? He said, yeah, and it's full uncut as well. I said, but. He went, you alright? Do you fancy a curry? And I went, I've got to have it. Suddenly I became very repetitive, you know, in my shock. And he went, yeah, take it with you, go and copy it, but bring it back, bring my copy back. This is VHS days. In fact, me and him were both Betamax, and I did. Took it back home, copied it that night, and I ran back from the house, the old McAneny abode, the dwelling of my clan, and I legged it back to his. It's a shame he wasn't living right here, because he's just down the fucking road. Would have been a lot easier. And he's still there, by the way. He still lives there. And took it back to him. So when the film came out at the Flicks, a load of us went and we watched it. And I knew they'd cut that, they'd cut that, they'd cut that. But it was still a great experience watching it on the big screen. Especially it had been denied us for quite some time. But the full uncut version, to have it, because I watched it at the cinema, and we went straight back. We were going to go to the pub. I went, fuck that, I'm going straight back to mine to watch the full uncut version. Who wants to come and watch it? Everyone did. And back in those days, well, Big Kilt Papa was still alive, so he didn't mind watching zombie movies. He loved anything with guns and bullets and shooting between the eyes. I mean, that was up for it, you know. So he loved zombie movies. He wasn't a horror film fan, but he loved zombie movies. So Dawn of the Dead especially, he loved that. And Zombie Flesh Eaters as well, he loved that one. And I was there at the grave today, as I said before. I was going to do this video there. It's probably a good thing that the rain came down and it's still coming down. Because at least I can play this stuff now. Ramsey loves his real ale. Doesn't drink this shit. Don't think he does anyway. He drinks in different pubs than me. I don't know why. No, Ramsey's a fantastic character. And he is a character and an exceptionally talented writer as well. So I had my little shining moment of literary fame and glory, and I had a book deal. As many people know, some who know more than others, I wrote 2 of the books, both anthologies, and I did not complete the contract. Well, there are massive reasons for that. Not good ones. Not particularly. I can't say with my hand on my heart that I made the right decision. I made a very bad decision, in fact, and for the wrong reasons as well. So I walked out of a 3-book deal, and it was going places as well. Oh shit! But who knows? Who knows? I've got time on my hands. Like Rhodes and his men, I've got too much time on my hands now. So maybe I should start writing again. I know I get asked to do this a lot. Not by publishers though. So, you know, if a publisher said, Kilt-Man, will you fucking start writing? Here's an advance payment. Just send us your synopsis and your first chapter, and I can guarantee we're going to publish it. Do that, and I'll be there. You'll have a book within a week, and it'll be Stephen King length as well, because you know how much I can fucking yak on. You think Stephen King's full of fucking written diarrhea? It's just blah, 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 blah. No, he can't. Even the short stories, like fucking 450 pages long. But yeah, the whole point of this video, if I can remember right now, was to say that yeah, we're not getting Marcus Levine's Night of the Living Dead 2. Which I do think is a shame, because clearly I read what he said about it, and he was saying we want to give it, you know, proper conviction. We're going to tell a heart and soul story of great characters, and you know, but we're going to give the gore that we all know and love from Romero's movies. You're going to have that, but we're going to tell a proper story as well with great characters. Now, I know a lot of people say this sort of stuff, and you know, the proof is in the pudding, obviously. But no one sets out to make a bad movie. And I think what's happened here is, I think, given what Laurie Cardale has said, that what they'd done was great. And it's a shame they just didn't get the backing for it. It was a promo reel, and they were shopping it around. Look, we've done this, but we've got the full movie, we've got the full idea. And we've got the cast in place, we've got the effects technicians, we've got everybody in place, we've got the locations, everything is set. Just can you fund a bit more, and then we can do the full-length movie. and it didn't happen. So, Marcus, please get in touch and let me know the full story, because I massively lend my support to this. Any creative endeavour like this, I applaud. I wish I could start making movies. I wouldn't have the first idea. I wouldn't have a clue. Filming, I just set this thing up, dunk, put the ring light on, and then go blah 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 blah. I wouldn't have a clue about editing. If I knew how to edit, you wouldn't have me stuttering and stammering and forgetting people's names. It'd be super slick. Like all the other YouTubers who edit all the time. And you can see the little jumps as well to keep it slick and moving along. They can't fucking sit like I do and just talk and talk and talk and keep some semblance, sometimes, of sense and, you know, a narrative flow and a direction. I go off on tangents, of course, that's what I do, but I always tend to weave myself back in again. And even the tangents have little elements of, you know, brevity and connection to the main thrust of the story. But I've been drinking, so what the hell do I know? And speaking of which, cheers again. Fucking rain is really coming down, and that's beginning to annoy me now. Because I'm gonna go out. So folks, I have been and always shall be Kilt-Man. Please, in the meantime, and it's ever, who knows what's gonna come next? Will there be another little tidbit from another person involved in all of these movies to give me some more information? Between time. Please keep it Celtic, keep it Celtic. I love that. You see, even that, with that sort of, the drums, the drum pads, the synthesized the stuff, and you've got the bells ringing. That reminds me of Spain and Malta for some unknown reason. I've been to Spain and Malta many times. Been all around Spain. Been all around Malta, but you can do that in a fucking day. Malta's like small, and there's a cavernous sort of cathedral and multiple churches, and yet sort of very sunny, very hot feel to that. Love it. John Harrison. Your score rocks, it kicks ass. All the music to the Romero movies is exemplary, truly exemplary. Anyway, I'm off, so yeah, we're not going to get this short version. A shame. Can it appear as an extra on a DVD, a Blu-ray, a UHD release? Can it be shown streaming wise? Someone will let me know. After this, someone's going to, Kilt-Man, it's actually on. It's on so-and-so channel right now. And I'll be like, we saw it 18 months ago. And I'll be like, oh yeah, you thought you were cool getting the full uncut version of Day of the Dead way before it actually got showed in cinemas in the UK. Oh, you think you're cool having that? Well, this thing you've been talking about, we've had it for the last 18 months. It's great, isn't it? I'm going, folks. So, zombies, you can't keep them down, you know? You just can't. But then again, they're just dead flesh and dangerous. It's a great line, isn't it? I'm out of here. See you later.